This is Grand Tactician Civil War. Welcome back and thanks for watching. I hope you're having a great weekend. We have a little bit of a new soundtrack this time. Pretty sure some of the songs might be the same. And I hope we don't get all too many copyright strikes from these old Dixie songs. Anyway, we are back in Virginia at Leesburg under General Lee. Only commanding two corps, the Carolinians and the Georgians. As you can see, the sides are quite evenly matched, and the AI combat creator in its infinite wisdom decided to appoint the South the defenders, even though I was the one attacking the North, sitting still. But there you go. Hopefully they'll fix that in a future patch. Alright, I can see here that the music potentially is a little bit loud, so I'm just gonna adjust that. Give me a second here. I mean, I guess every new YouTube playlist has its own like volume. Alright, let's go with that. Let's go with that. That looks, I hope it's good. And then we're gonna have to check out for the game sound as well. That's complicated. Who's the commanding general here? Well, it says it's McClellan, and as you know, for the longest time McClellan was roaming around up in West Virginia, but then early summer '62 he invaded with his army of occupation. He's still commanding that with around 20,000 troops. Why does it say he only has 2,000 men? I don't know, but I'm not surprised he's been sitting here. This combat, actually, I was attacking because it looked like the Union army was smaller, but underneath the NATO symbols on the strategic map, apparently I missed units because I couldn't see them. But at least it's a 1v1 odds-wise. And on top of this hill here sits General Lee by the farmhouse with his staff. And on the left flank we have Walker with his Georgians, although one Georgian division here, the second one, is in strategic army reserve. And on the right we have the 2nd Carolina Corps under Hill. In line we have 2nd North Carolina Division under Zollicoffer guarding one crossing. 1st North Carolina Division under Daniel here is guarding the middle crossing. And back here we have 1st South Carolina Division under Greg guarding this crossing. And the cavalry and artillery is spread out all out. We are not protected from a left flank outflank. I recognize this battlefield, and in that battle the Union crossed here and actually drove back the center quite heavily on this hill. So this is the second time I'm fighting in this direction, but this time I can see the Union army and it is sitting right across us here. This is very uncommon. I might even go too far as to say that I never seen a Union army pushed up against like the setup line right on top of the... Oh, and we have pontoon bridges. I accidentally built 2 pontoon bridges way up in the corner in a battle during the summer. That was the first time I saw them built. Now apparently the Union has constructed a pontoon bridge here. Okay, so they work and the AI can construct them. It's not going to be very useful, but I'm more talking about the feature itself. And it's 7 o'clock, almost 8 o'clock in the morning, and for once the guns open up immediately. Immediately artillery start firing. Union artillery on our left flank is opening up here. We should outnumber them in artillery quite heavily. And at this stage, no side fields large amounts of artillery. Because at least the South, me as the human player, we have not upgraded to 16 gun artillery battalions yet, so all these batteries are very small. It looks impressive, but they're actually 3 to 5 guns mostly. There are some exceptions. So wise from that debacle back in early summer, I constructed a couple of parapets here as kind of a reserve fallback position for the Georgians here, in case they're driven back, because they are a bit isolated, even though I could send my army reserve. The quite inexperienced, 2nd Georgia Division under Wise here. As you can see, they don't have any stars on their individual brigades, and that is because, thanks for the follow. I'll tab out of the game and congratulate you. Thank you. Hello, Jordan. And when I tab out, the game goes scrolling all over the place. I don't have 2 monitors, so yeah, that's just gonna happen. I am not the most proficient technically streamer, although I seem to getting a little bit of the grasp of the talking to yourself into a mic. I'm getting used to that now. Yeah, we are running time here, so let's examine while listening to the Yellow Rose of Texas. Good version here, I recognize this one. If the Union is going, seems like he has a division here with 4 large brigades. 2nd Brigade, 1600. And I can 4th Brigade, 2400. That's a massive brigade. The maximum size in the AOM overhaul mod that I am playing is 2500 compared to 3000 in vanilla. So these are definitely newly recruited, almost full-size brigades. Well, they are full-size, because the first thing that happens is that like a couple of percent go sick. Okay. And immediately the AI sends out a couple of batteries, which will be excellent for my 4th New Carolina Ace of Spade Springfield rifle musket equipped troops under Pettigrew to kind of skirmish, send them out into the down to the river's shore. Cull kits 1006 North Carolina. So the higher the number, the less experienced usually the brigades tend to be. Okay, so let's eliminate the crews of those guns. There's really not a lot of trouble just to shoot them to pieces with skirmishes if they insist on sending up Ohio 5 guns here. I really don't understand why the AI keeps doing it. Well, I do understand it, because it's very weakly programmed. That's why. Yeah, it's already gone. And now I think it's best to just fall back with these skirmishes. They don't really serve a purpose, since the parent brigade is just sitting inside parapets. So I'll update you. I found a table of cover in the manual. Now in this patch 1.1, the latest patch, when I'm playing this in November 2022, they have nerfed lowered cover, but according to the manual, parapets protect 0.7, and that is whether you put abatis, the felled red trees, and cover. Here we got a bit of cover. I would like to call these Spanish riders, the kind of crossed stakes like that, but they have another name in the game. Anyway, this gives better concealment, and it says that it slows the enemy down. Although I haven't seen that yet. I only seen the enemy take cover in the abatis and get yellow cover. So maybe it slows them down, but it also gives the enemy cover. And that's good. And in the center, 1st North Carolina Division is opening up on a US regiment of 600 brave mounted troops trying to cross the ford here, and they are gonna let's see if they get stuck on the pointy things here. Not so much, but they are getting shot to pieces, aren't they? Only 100 casualties. Brave mounted Union troops. So it seems we don't have any like special forces per se, sharpshooters, scripted from the campaign start, specific units, or any... Well, we have the most experienced brigade here in the army, under Klingman. It is the 3rd New Carolina brigade with 3 stars experience. And they are ace of spades, so they're a little bit better at digging in here in their trench. Giving them not only 7.5% more cover, but also a tiny fraction of reloading speed. Okay, we have a lot of Union cavalry forming up on the other side of the river here. This is our center here. The amount of avatars or units, soldiers, should reflect the size, but 750, well, 750 is actually quite large. Okay, so we got a bit of a push here. I am gonna use... Oh, we do have a new... You know what? I'm tempted to give the first a different perk, because it's quite a large, for being the Confederates, 1400 is quite a large brigade. I might give them a spirited charge that gives better melee strength. So in the division, this will always be the division reserve. Well, not always, but for as long as possible. And then I form them up, and if my line gets charged by Union troops, I can send them into melee, and they'll be a little bit... In a way, it's just to mix it up. I know I done this in a Georgian division, but I mean, I could give everyone ace of spades and just dig in. That would probably be the best. And we're gonna give the first New North Carolina spirited charge. This is gonna be my melee brigade. Alright. I guess it's time to give those fellas a shot there. You know, I will send in some cavalry. As I've said repeatedly, there are multiple reasons for using a little bit of supporting cavalry. They do give you a green morale boost. I couldn't tell you how much, but at least you can see that. And the reason the manual says is because historically cavalry used to gather up stragglers, which makes sense to me. Okay, we get more cavalry. They're really pushing the center one, not so much second division's position here. It's only a single brigade. It's actually a regiment from the regular army. In this mod, as you know, in the series, you have 1,000-man regiments of regular army troops. They have a smaller replacement pool, kind of like Maryland said a developer in the forums. Okay, the first 6th US regiment is going back, and we have the 4th and 5th US regiment along with the 2nd US regiment. I wonder where all these regiments, the 3rd US regiment, where are they all coming from? Is it possible that... I think I need to get some more cavalry down here. Why not? You hold in shift, you can place them just a tiny fraction behind the unit so you don't stack them. I do not think it's a good idea to stack more troops into that trench. Right, and somehow the Union has managed to cross over the river. I don't think it should be able to during summer. Only during winters when the rivers freeze, but the AI seems to be able to bridge itself over across, or it just counts like this entire river stretch is pontoon bridge covered. It's not only this location. I do think it's about the categories, and we might as well support them, right? With some skirmishes. It's not like I, as the overall commander right now, oh, here's the thing. I'm old and my synapses are bad, and alcoholism and all that jazz. So I often stress out. Also, I'm a bit OCD and micromanager. But a good house rule for you to have is never stop, never pause the game. I might play the this. That was not a house rule I set up for myself in this game, so I'm not playing with it. But I'm thinking I should, because it probably make the game more interesting. Actually, it wouldn't be a bad idea to have like an Iron Man mode where you couldn't pause. You could only control the speed. Speed 1. Okay, then they would have to fix the performance, because out here I scroll around just fine. But when I go in with 50,000 men, now I am remember I am streaming, and that is usually very heavy performance toll on computers, games. I don't know why I built this middle trench to intercept river bypassing here from one crossing to another. I suspect the Union is suffering massive casualties compared to me here, but wait a minute, what are you doing here? Why this? But I'm also thinking that the AOM overhaul mod seems to have balanced casualties quite nicely compared to vanilla. It happens that I go above 2-to-1 losses defending, but you don't get the 4-5 to 1 odds casualties as you can get in vanilla. It just gets so one-sided. So I suppose they made gunfire rifle fire less deadly and inefficient, a bit more efficient. So let's see how my theory holds. 4-to-1. Yeah, but this is a very terrain-wise. This is a very one-sided affair, right? So 4-to-1. That's about as good as it gets. And but I mean, it's so unfair. I should be attacking here, and then I would have outflanked them, and it would have been okay. But it's hard not to exploit the AI. It is highly mediocre. Well, we're having fun here. Not bad. Okay, let's see. No, I'm not missing anything. Not on the far right, far left flank. They're just coming into the center here. Not being very inventive today. So that, okay, 52 minutes. I couldn't see what time it was before they retreated, but that was like 1 or 2 hours or something. And they had enough. They suffered around 5,000 casualties at Leesburg. But, you know, they inflicted 1,000 losses on me, and you might think like, wait, you're sitting across the river in a freaking trench? How could you get 1,000 losses? Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't just expect to get away with like a couple of hundred losses. If that's the mod, or if that is the game itself. I think it's a good idea. I don't know how historically realistic this would be, but yeah, game balance wise, this works fine. Might as well just pursue here with first. I'm gonna double time them, see if they can get some shots off, because most of the time, no, you don't get much use of pursuing efforts whatsoever. Well, I certainly don't have the feeling that like the Confederacy is falling apart in summer 1862. Because you trash the AI most battles. There are some that are evenly matched and you get a little bit off balance because the AI decides to move unexpectedly around your flank and you have to Now my troops are starting to get decently experienced, and along with my leaders, I have more military national experience. I had a crazy amount of engineering points in this battle. So yeah, there we go. I felt myself a bit underwhelmed. You know, I consider retiring this campaign. But I'm kind of curious to see what happens if we have a democratic president, union president. In November 1862, it should lower the union national morale further immediately. At least it does in vanilla, I think. But here it seems more that you get a gradual lowering of national morale. And they're down to in the 40s already, I think. Alright, let's go double speed here. Oh, we get a little bit of firing, do we? No. This is a new song. Roll, Alabama. Yeah. You roll, Alabama. Sound of Irish sounding accents, am I right? Okay, let's send over the cavalry. "25 minutes left before the battle is over." Here comes our melee brigade. I wonder if I could... Force Georgia is a spirited charge 1700 men brigade with a 5-star colonel. Is that what I'm seeing? No, 4 stars, sorry. That is bar 2. It's quite uncommon to have, because this obviously been in the war for a long time. 1700 still, with excellent melee. I need to find out what is the best melee rifle to use. I'm not sure the Springfield is the best. It doesn't say here, but they have regular muskets, right? Equipped with a bayonet, so I think sword bayonets are better. Mississippi rifles have sword bayonet. Maybe that would be the stronger choice for these so-called elite. Not elite, melee. Perk equipped brigades. Alright, I think that should do it. We're gonna just speed 20 out the last 10 minutes. Not much of a pursuit as to be expected. There we go. 5,000 casualties versus 1,000. Yeah, McClellan isn't doing... He's doing about as well as in real life, right? Although, as far as I understand, his rumor and reputation as a military leader is a little bit exaggerated on the bad side. He you know, it's like, oh, he was a good administrator, but he was doing really bad. But I think a lot of history now with online amateur historians being able to chime in along with professional book writing historians. This goes for the Second World War, definitely. There's so much new aspects on old history being rewritten, and I think it's about the same with the Civil War, actually. And McClellan's reputation, as far as I watch on YouTube, is being shined on upon with a fraction of a different light. So, anyway, 200 prisoners. Well, that's funny because it's a large battle with a lot of casualties, right? So you would expect more prisoners, but that actually fits very well in with the kind of combat that was going on. So don't ask me how the game configures the amount of prisoners, but this is way lower than average, I'd say. And, you know, well, we didn't have a lot of pursuit. That could be it. Also, the kind of combat that was going on, I would say, no, you wouldn't take a lot of prisoners. 3,000 new rifles to the Confederate armories. Great. I think I haven't done a video for a while, so I'm just gonna give a very tiny overview what's changed since the last one. So we have the Western Army over here, and they're eyeing up the army of Southwest Missouri here, which should be 7,000 strong. We should be able to take that on and drive it out of Missouri so we can capture Missouri. But they do have some stragglers here from my central cleaning up operation around whatever this town is called over here. Jefferson City, maybe. And I'm sending the Texans up here towards combat range. That's not what it's called. It's called Palmyra. Because there are Union stragglers in northern Missouri. You have to drive out every army out of the state. Interesting. 7,000 troops up there. Well, in July. Iowa and... oh yeah, that's probably the same. So they're probably newly recruited and resting up. Anyway, I think I have a shot at liberating Missouri before the summer ends. Right, and as you can see here, the 3rd Virginia Corps, which is Lee's troops under Reynolds, they have split off from the Northern Army of Northern Virginia in Virginia itself and joined the West Virginians over here, which are only 4,600. And I don't want to fight with them. So this is more of a, I mean, why not liberate undefended real estate and gain free depots and Grafton and maybe Wheeling here? Anyway, I'm gonna defend, or at least occupy, West Virginia with around 12,000 troops. And we do have the Army of Florida, former Army of Florida, coming up here. It's now named Army West Virginia under Pickett, and we do have a perk to assign it. So this is a very old army headquarters that I probably have paid army supply upkeep for during the entire war needlessly, but now I have a perk at least to compensate for that. And before I sign off, I'm gonna report that I have posted on the Steam forums a rather detailed question about the economics. Like, so what is your favorite tips? How do you increase your economic performance the best? Do you build buildings? What projects? What acts? What do you do to influence your economics? And so far one answer, man, I have no freaking idea, and no one else answered. And it's been up there for a couple of days. It's a fairly active, well, small but active community. So I think I'm not the only one being clueless about not only understanding what's going on in the economy, but also like, sure, you can do stuff that improves it, but it's like, yeah, maybe it got better, but and a game is a little bit about making hard choices, right? And have different routes to go to different goals. But here's like you're fumbling around in the dark because you don't have enough information. I don't feel it's a strong game design choice. I think it's a very strong fault of the game and the development team's kind of plan or implementation, that everything is so vague. They need to work on that really. Alright, hope you enjoyed that battle, and I will see you in the next one.